Morning, everyone. All right. Well, I am Derek Douglas, the Vice President for Civic Engagement at the University of Chicago. And on behalf of the university, I'm really delighted to welcome you all this morning to the Urban America Forward National Conference. Today's conference follows a series of 3-day-long civil rights roundtable discussions held at the University of Chicago in June, September, and December of 2015. Now we are bringing the next phase in those discussions to our nation's capital, where policies are made that affect urban communities across the country. As an urban research institution, the University of Chicago's commitment to rigorous inquiry and evidence-based solutions is linked to our commitment to civic engagement and social impact. The university dedicates resources toward improving the quality of life of urban residents, beginning in our local neighborhoods on the south side of Chicago and extending across the city, the nation, and around the world. The Civil Rights Roundtable series has been a powerful vehicle for leveraging sound research to identify specific, practical solutions that will move America forward. And our presenters today will share some of these insights throughout the day. As we kick off today's program, though, it's a pleasure to welcome new faces and voices to the conversation. With leaders from national civil rights organizations, urban policy experts, civil rights scholars, social scientists, activists, members of the private sector, and philanthropic leaders, all engaged in these conversations, we believe we can help promote a national dialogue around solving some of these challenges, ranging from poverty to justice, from healthy communities to democracy. I want to thank and acknowledge some of our partners. First, at the Center for the Study of Race, Politics, and Culture, in particular, Michael Dawson and his team have been tremendous partners, and they are the sponsors of the Roundtable series. I also want to thank Professor Kathy Cohen, who you'll hear from later as well. Kathy wears many hats, including chair of the Political Science Department, founder of the Black Youth Project, and she's really been with us from the very, very beginning when this was just an idea, sitting around the table, helping us think through what we can do to bring together the academy with practitioners to really develop evidence-based solutions to support urban communities. I also must thank and acknowledge, you know who I'm about to talk about, Elena Beverly, who I just want to give a round of applause to Elena Beverly. I had the privilege of working with Elena. Actually, I started my career as a lawyer at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and met Elena there. Then we worked together again when I was in the White House and she was in the Office of Urban Affairs. And when I came to the university, was fortunate enough to convince her to join me there. She's our Director of Urban Affairs in the Office of Civic Engagement and the Office of Federal Relations. And she's truly been the engine to make all of this possible. Everything that you've seen since last June when we started to today has been driven by Elena and her leadership. And without that leadership, this would not be possible. So I want to recognize and thank her for that. Finally, I want to thank our funders, whose generous support has been essential to this series. I want to thank the Ford Foundation, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, Kresge Foundation, and Atlantic Philanthropies. I'm also grateful to the presenters. We've had a number of presenters throughout the series, as well as all of the participants who have come and engaged. What's been powerful, I think, about this Urban Roundtable series is that it hasn't just been people speaking from a stage to an audience. It's really been a conversation between everybody that's in the room, and we want that to happen again today. When we started to talk about the idea of this Roundtable series 18 months ago, we were driven by the notion that we need a 21st century urban agenda that brings together people of all ages, races and ethnicities, genders, sexual orientation, and people from various fields, be it civil rights, academics, urban policy experts, philanthropy, private sector, politicians, community-based organizations. We need all of these people to come together to help think through what the evidence-based solutions are to challenges facing our urban communities. This series, I believe, has really started to build a tremendous intergenerational and interdisciplinary community who are all working together to build a brighter future for our country. Now, when you're planning something like this, you never quite know how it will turn out. And I remember conversations in my office or in Kathy's office where we're sitting around the table wondering, are we the only ones who think this idea makes sense? Will anybody participate? Will it actually make a difference? And I'm proud to say that, in my estimation, I think Elena, Kathy, and Michael would back me up, the Urban America Forward series has exceeded our expectations. And I'm a big believer when you have something that's working, you have to find ways to keep it going. So while today wraps up the initial 4-part series, we want and will plan for these discussions and Urban America Forward to continue. And we hope you will help us keep the conversations and the work to find effective solutions going. Now, I have the pleasure of inviting up Michael Dawson, the John D. MacArthur Professor of Political Science at the college, Director of the Center for the Study of Race, Politics, and Culture at the University of Chicago, to the podium. Please join me in welcoming Michael. Thank you.
Good morning. Oh, no. You can do Derek, I thought you had them good. You had them ready. Good morning. Thank you. Also on behalf of the university, the Office of Civic Engagement, and the Center for the Study of Race, Politics, and Culture, I welcome you to the National Conference of Urban America Forward. As Derek suggested, this is the culmination of a very long process. Over the past several months, we've had 3 roundtables where we've had thoughtful discussions with lots of disagreements, but a lot of goodwill on the issues that we will discuss today. And the process has led to a number of policy proposals that could be a foundation for an urban-focused civil rights agenda for our times. Everyone in this room understands the importance of cities in American life and history. Cities are the cultural, scientific, and social incubators that have provided the motive for progress in this country. But as I've mentioned in Chicago, unfortunately, unlike in many other parts of the world, cities and their residents are often viewed with suspicions and sometimes distaste by other citizens. And yet, once again, our cities are both our hope for our future, a concern for the present, as they face increasing tensions, declining resources, and need for economic revitalization, and a more just distribution of economic, political, and social benefits and resources across all of their communities and for all of their residents. At our first 3 roundtables, the discussion focused on several themes, including the implication of moving to a majority-minority America, which has already occurred in a few states and several cities. The terrain is shifting in complex ways that includes not only increasing diversity, but inter- and intra-group conflicts, intergenerational tensions, and the fact that growing numeric strength has not in a straightforward manner translated into economic, political, and social strength for many groups. The continuing challenges that gentrification presents to equity in a number of domains, including housing, political power, and process of marginalization, was another topic of discussion. And in the realms of education, we had a robust debate about both goals and policies so that children are better served and better prepared for both the workforce and for college. The discussion of education was closely connected to analyzing what was the state of the art with respect to fighting poverty and its intersection with education, housing, and race. This discussion was very closely tied to debates about unemployment and labor markets. Central to several of our discussions, however, were the themes of the interaction of law enforcement agencies with communities of color, and particularly use of those communities. A critical problem was a widespread observation by youth of color that they were not valued or treated as full citizens. Some of our presenters presented evidence that unfair harassment was part of the everyday lives of our youth in our communities. Building healthy communities was another theme of the second roundtable. We also focused on questions of representation and the cleavages, divisions, and strategies that are undermining democracy, particularly for urban residents. Looking to the future, we discussed how to build sustainable cities, greening the cities while also incorporating new technologies as engines of growth, employment, and innovation. All of these discussions were held in the context of building a next generation of leadership and several youth leaders were present to help us learn the lessons generated by the newest generation of civil rights and human rights leaders. Since even the last roundtable, urban centers have become tenser, and the political terrain has become more fraught as we see a toxic mixture of misconduct and cover-ups by state authorities, violence, inter and intracommunal, all within a political environment where some candidates have chosen to build support by mobilizing prejudice and intolerance. Our work could not be any more critical or timely. The presidential campaign has to a degree that I don't remember since my youth. It's stirring up hatred and fear with potentially dire consequences, not only for our urban areas, but the entire world. CRSPC is excited to be part of the organizing effort for pulling together these roundtables. Urban affairs is a longstanding focus of much of the research and teaching of the center. Public health, including health disparities, racial conflict and cooperation, urban politics and social movements, and an active urban arts and media program, often in partnership with the Arts and Public Life program, are all part of our portfolio. These conversations are part of our 20th anniversary year, which has focused on the contributions that the studies of race and ethnicity globally can continue to make intellectual inquiry and making a better world for all of us. I also want to extend thanks to several organizations and people that have made this possible. I'd like to thank Derek Douglas, the Vice President for Civic Engagement, who we've heard from first. Without the support of him and the administration, this would not have happened. We cannot thank Elena Beverly too often. Let's give her another round of applause. My life would be impossible, and this conference and the entire efforts of the CSRPC would not be possible without the efforts of Tracy Matthews, Associate Director, Dara Espion, and my faculty colleagues who have been leaders such as Kathy Cohen and Michelle Keels. The Rabin Group has been extraordinarily important in providing strategic guidance as well as logistical support. And I want to thank my colleagues, Ann Dodge and her colleagues at the Urban Network at the University of Chicago, who are indispensable for helping us plan and pull off the entire chain of events. In addition to our sponsors and patrons that Derek has already mentioned, I also want to thank Uber for hosting the reception tonight and Microsoft for hosting the reception last night. We have a lot of work to do, and I want to turn over the proceedings over to my friend and colleague, Chair of the Political Science Department at the University of Chicago, Kathy Cohen.
How's everybody doing? Do you see me run up here? Because they were like, get this moving. Yes, it takes 3 people to welcome you to an event. Because we have been thanked already, so many of us, I'm not going to do that again. Of course, we want to say thank you to all the people who did the incredible work to pull this together. But I will say it's hard to believe that different members of us have really been coming together for almost a year, about nine months, and that this, I thought, was the culminating meeting, but I've just learned it's not. So I guess there's more work to be done. Of course, much has happened in the world and in the country to underscore the importance of our meetings and the work everyone is involved in. At our first meeting, I mentioned in my opening remarks the domestic terrorism that led to the killing of 9 remarkable people at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina in June 2015. Since that time, we've witnessed the death of Sandra Bland, the killing of Samuel DuBose, the release in Chicago of the horrific videotape of the killing of Laquan McDonald, and more recently, of course, national attention to the lead crisis in Flint, Michigan. And of course, I could go on. And while all these events remind us of the kind of devastating effects of, for example, neoliberal policies on our cities and our communities, we also have significant points of hope, not the least of which is the national and international mobilization taking place under the banner of Black Lives Matter, led by really remarkable young activists. So today, I think we have a chance to continue the dialogue, but also really to think critically about how we move an agenda, an urban agenda for the 21st century forward that will improve the lives of those most marginal in our society, people I think we would say we love. at a time when we have candidates promising to take the country in directions that would really devastate our cities and communities of color, for example, who are already, of course, struggling to recover from years of oppression and economic disinvestment, I think our work could not be more important. This is, in fact, a wonderful time, opportune time to come together, but of course, we also have very, very serious work to do. Now, integral to structuring our work today will be our MC, Joanne Reed. I don't know if you all know what fangirl means, but I've been stalking Joy, poor thing. So I'm a big fangirl of hers. So Joanne Reed is a national correspondent for MSNBC and the author of the book Fracture, Barack Obama, the Clintons, and the Racial Divide. She was previously the host of the Reid Report, a daily program that offered Reid's distinctive analysis and insight on the day's news. Before that, Reid was the managing editor of thegrio.com, a daily online news and opinion platform devoted to delivering stories and perspectives that reflect and affect African American audiences. Reid joined thegrio.com with experience as a freelance columnist for the Miami Herald and as editor of the political blog, The Reid Report. She is also a former talk radio producer and host for Radio 1, and previously served as an online news editor for the NBC affiliate WTVJ in Florida. During the 2004 presidential campaign, Reid served as the Florida Deputy Communications Director for the 527 initiative, America Coming Together, and was a press aide in the final stretch of President Barack Obama's Florida campaign. Reid's columns and articles have appeared in the New York Times, the Miami Herald, the South Florida Sun Centennial, South Florida Times, and Salon.com. She is currently producing a documentary, The Fight Years, which takes a look at the sport of boxing during the 1950s and 1960s in Miami. She graduated from Harvard. She's incredible. We are so lucky, I want to say that again, so lucky to have her running our show today. Ladies and gentlemen, Joanne Reed.
All right, good morning. Please forgive the run in my stocking. It's been a morning. I'll put my glasses on. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I put my glasses on. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. And I, too, am a fan of all that you guys do. So thank you to everyone. And I'll start by saying good morning. Good morning. Have a caffeinated good morning, right? I'm semi-caffeinated. All right, so first of all, I'd like to join my predecessors here at the podium in thanking the Center for the Study of Race, Politics, and Culture at UChicago and the Office of Civic Engagement for bringing us all together for this Urban America Forward National Conference. I think my predecessors have set up a lot of what we are doing here, and so I won't repeat that. I will mention that my visit here will be a little bit truncated. I am on my way to Michigan, and Kathy mentioned the goings-on in Flint. I'll be in Detroit and Flint. Detroit, of course, where last night there was a very interesting debate. Very interesting debate, right? Which may or may not have set back American civilization about 70, 80 years, but it's going to be okay. There'll be another debate in Flint. Of course, the Democrats are going to have their turn this weekend, and of course, issues of urban policy have never been more important and more timely. This conference could not be more timely, I should say, because of clearly what's happening in Flint, as well as the situation with Detroit public schools. If you go to Cleveland and all that's happening there, you go to Chicago, where just as in Cleveland, we're about to have major elections that will frame the way that criminal justice works in some of these communities, and I know that's part of the agenda that you all are working on. So this could not be a more timely conference, and it involves something that my good friend Melissa Harris Perry, her favorite phrase, and one of mine is intersectionality, and talking about all of the intersections of race and class and gender and sexual orientation and urban policy and planning and history and race and all of that. So I think that's also important. So as I look out and see all of you here, I just can only say thank you and appreciate you for what you guys are doing. Now, of course, the goal of the Urban America Forward Roundtable series has always been to do that, to bring that intersectionality together and to create a dialogue around these issues that are so critical to the urban agenda, and to share your knowledge, your policy solutions, these interdisciplinary and evidence-based solutions that you all are bringing together at this conference. And of course, there have already been results. I'm honored to report that because of all of the tremendous work that you all have done and the participation of those at the Center for the Study of Race, Politics, and Culture, we'll be releasing a series of policy briefs that are going to cover a gamut of issues facing urban America. And these briefs were written by a cross-section of experts from all walks of life. So we hope that you will peruse those. They're well worth your time to take a look. And you can access them at the center's website, which is csrpc.uchicago.edu. If you don't remember that, don't worry. It's in your materials. So you'll be able to access that. So I also want to highlight a couple of things that you guys are going to get to do today and what you'll get out of today. The first thing is that you will continue learning. There'll be experts from many fields on the stage and also with you in the audience. So, of course, I urge you to engage with those at your table, to get up, walk around, engage with some of the people not at your table. There are definitely no backbenchers or non-participants. We want you all to consider yourselves to be participants, whether you're on the dais or not. If you've been to any of the roundtables, and I've been to a previous one, and I will add to the Elena Beverly embarrassment. She's going to turn bright red with all of us. Constantly thanking her, but Elena invited me here, and I went to a previous roundtable and got a lot out of it. So you guys obviously know that you're going to get a lot of meat with your dessert, right? It's fun to be together, but you're also going to learn a lot and have a spirited discussion. And the third thing, of course, try to meet somebody new who's outside the scope of what you do. So you can walk away with not just business cards to fill up your wallet, but also new people to interact with outside of here. Okay, and also we want to continue these discussions in the months to come. Now, before we go in, I'm going to do a few housekeeping things, a few logistical things. Today's event is going to be obviously interactive, but I have to point out where the coffee is, because that's very important. It's out there. I'm sure you all probably know, but please feel free to avail yourselves of that. We also want to encourage you to do something that I do obsessively that annoys my children, which is to tweet. And tweet aggressively. Tweet a lot. I already tweeted this morning. I've already done my share. Urban FWV is the hashtag. Urban FWD, Urban Forward for short. So you can tweet to that to talk about it. And also the event is going to be live streamed. It's being live streamed on the website for the Center of Race, Politics, and Culture. So give great face, right? Always be looking good because you are on candid camera. We're also going to be doing some polling. So we're doing something innovative. And so we'll be doing these live polls. You can participate in those polls through your cell phone, or you can use your laptop. That's going to be fun, right? And you can also find details about that. And then, of course, the bathrooms. They're that way, too, where the coffee is, which is appropriate. They're out to the left of the main doors when you walk in. And then lastly, we want to make sure, let's test the polling. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and test the polling. So everybody take out your phones. Sound like Ed Schultz. Get out your phones. And check up on the screens, because we're going to put a question up on the screens. They're that way and that way. So you're going to look, and we're going to try a poll, okay? So first, the way to get on the polling app is you're going to go to pollev.com, so pollev.com/urbanfwd, and that's up on the screen as well. So pollev.com/urbanfwd is how you get on, or you can just text Urban FWD to the number 22333, which is also on the screen, hopefully. So you can just text it, and then it's going to give you an access to get you in. So is everybody got it? You guys having trouble? And the Wi-Fi is on your table, how to get on the Wi-Fi. So that's how you're going to do it. Everybody let me know when you got it. Got it? Y'all are still tired. I understand. It's early. But let me know when you got it. Okay, so we're going to try one. Can we try a question? All right, let's do it. Okay, so The first question is going to be a multiple choice. You're going to be able to pick one thing from the screen. And it is, I identify as an academic, a policymaker, a grassroots activist, a civil rights leader, or other. I would be other. So you can select your answer, or you can just text your answer to 22333. All right, somebody with better vision than me is going to have to read that screen across there. So you see the results are coming up right there. Look at that. It's happening in real time. Technology is amazing, isn't it? Pretty cool, right? So there you go. The results are there in real time so that you can see them as they happen. That's how the polling is going to work. Pretty cool, right? All right. Okie dokie. And I think we might have another polling question we're going to try. I'm going to let you guys finish putting your answers in for that one. All right. The next one we're going to do is going to create a word cloud. All right, so it's important that you keep your answers to just one word, so that we can create a word cloud. You're going to text your word for the word cloud to 22333. Cornell loves this. We're doing data stuff. He's like, ooh, lovely, delicious data. You can always tell when there's a pollster in the room. They start smiling when the chart goes up. Okay, so what's the greatest civil rights issue facing urban America? One word. What's the greatest civil rights issue facing urban America? Education, segregation, health, poverty, whatever you think. Your one word answer to what's the greatest civil rights issue facing urban America. So text that to 22333. Don't look at the word cloud. Look at education. Look at that. Racism and education so far. All right, look at that. And it is moving in real time. That's pretty amazing and overwhelming. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Look at that. Justice, education, and racism. Poverty. That is pretty fly. I love this technology. Very cool. I got to get one of these for the house. Which of these is the most important thing? Clean, room, cook. Oh, my kids would, yeah. Yes, they'd vote for TV. It would just be TV in the middle. No, actually, it would be phones because they don't watch TV. That's another thing about millennials. They don't watch television. They pass by it. They don't watch it. Okay, so Netflix would be in the middle. You're right. That's what would be in the middle, or YouTube. It would be either YouTube or Netflix. All right, so now we're going to try another one. That word cloud is pretty cool, but I think we have determined that the most important issues facing urban America are racism and education, or education first and then racism. As you can see from the word cloud, but poverty, voting, very important. Just an aside, there are already some issues that are being faced in the current primaries, because as you know, even though some primaries, only four or five primaries have happened, people are voting actually all over the country already. And we're already seeing problems. And in the just completed Texas primary, you still had 600,000 people who don't have the right ID to vote in the state of Texas. North Carolina, which is coming up soon, also has similar problems. There are already early voting issues being faced in a lot of the states that have voter ID, so that is a very important one. Poverty as well. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Question 3. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being very good, how would you rate racial relations in your city? On a scale of 1 to 5. 5 is very good. 1 is very bad. Wow. A lot of 3. One is very good. How would you rate racial relations in your city? 1. No, I'm sorry. 5 is very good. Sorry, I've confused you. 5 is very good. 1 is very bad. Sorry. 5 good. 1 bad. Have I completely skewed the results? I think I'm fired. I think I'm fired. I'm not a good pollster, so that I've chosen the right profession. Just talking on TV. I read your polls on TV. That is how we work. All right. So good. So that was really fun. So we're going to continue to engage you guys on these substantive questions. We'll continue doing that. We're going to let Cornell come up and do the next poll.